If your only goal is to survive the work week, then something needs to change. So, today we're talking about how you're most likely living for the weekends and not even enjoying them. Hi, my name is Emily Avon Green. I'm a therapist in private practice and a slow living enthusiast, and welcome back to another one of my sit down podcast style videos where we talk about the problem. I have my little notes here. Let's jump right in. So, first, I want to talk about this whole piece of just living for the weekends. Things like TGIF, thank God it's Friday, or, being so happy when it's Wednesday because at least the work week is halfway done, and then dreading Mondays. It literally feels like every single day is related to work in some way, either being sad or frustrated that you're at work or dragging your heels and about the fact that you have to go back to work. It's like everything centers around work. And we want to go home, right? Like that's the idea is like we don't want to be at work, we want to go home. But do we really want to go home? Or do we just want the absence of work? Because what I've found with my therapy clients and my mentorship clients is that a lot of us aren't really much more happy at home. It's not the idea of finding joy at home, it's the idea of escaping work, like escaping work and all the stress that comes with it. So it's not that we're going home to spend time with our families, to enjoy our hobbies, or to really get good rest. We just want to go home so that we can literally turn our brains off and numb ourselves so that we can just doom scroll and watch TV and just be, but not in the positive way, right? It's just, I find that we have become, as a society, so disconnected with ourselves and with our identities that we don't know how to be with ourselves anymore. We don't know how to be with others. Our meaning and our identities are so wrapped up in work, or maybe if you're in school, it's school, that we don't derive meaning from anything else. And this wasn't always the case. In the past, we used to derive meaning from other social things like religion, or when religion was really tied up in community efforts. So it used to be more community based things out in the world, but now we're just so isolated and disconnected that the only thing that we really have that is a constant in our lives and where we spend the most time is work. And so when you're at work, you're dreaming of leaving it. And when you're not at work, you're dreading returning. But work is just constantly on your mind to the point that there is no room for anything else, and we've lost the knowledge of how to create room for other things. And even if we know this and we try and foster a life outside of work, we don't know how to do it anymore. We don't know how else to live. It's like being with ourselves is a lost art. And what happens is because we're so wrapped up with work, we haven't done any justice to ourselves because we haven't found and created meaningful identities outside of work. Now, of course, you might have an identity as a mother or a parent or I don't know, whatever. But those are not enough pillars of identity to keep you stable. There is not enough there to Yeah, to keep you stable. Because if one pillar falls, which is work, you do not have enough there to be resilient in moments of difficulty. Like something bad happens at work, you do not have enough pillars to support you. And that's why when we get negative feedback at work, it can feel like our world is crumbling, because it literally is, because we haven't built any other pillars of our identity. And pillars of your identity can be a lot of different things. It could be the fact that you are someone who regularly goes to the gym and enjoys it. It could be that you're someone who enjoys crocheting. It could be that you're someone who really thrives in family time and board game nights and what have you. It doesn't have to be complex, but it does have to be meaningful. So it doesn't have to be complex, it just has to be meaningful. And the only way that you're ever going to derive meaning from anything else outside of work is by intentionally putting focus on it. Because just wanting to have meaning outside of work and just wanting to have identities outside of work is not enough. This is only possible when we actively work on creating that meaning and creating that identity. It is done with conscious effort and intentionality. So that's not just like, I'm going to take up crocheting and that's fun and la di da, and then you stop doing it because, oh, I'm not very good at it and blah. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about truly putting your energy into something. I think a lot of us have a hard time with this. I myself have had a hard time with this, finding things. So I have to try a couple different things. But I think a lot of us found that during the pandemic when we were all stuck at home, and a lot of us became really into, the big thing was making bread or other arts. And because we had nothing else to do, right? We had nothing else to do. So we were just doing that. But it wasn't in an effort to start a bread making business or to be the best bread maker in the world. But darn, did we ever get meaning and satisfaction from the idea of just making the bread, right? And then everything opened back up and work ramped back up and the calm was gone and we forgot. We forgot about the meaning that we had created in different facets of our life and we let it go. And it might have been slowly and it might have been all at once, but we indeed let it go. And made work central to our lives once more. And I don't want you to get me wrong, like work is important. And if you can find passion in your work, that is freaking amazing. But work is a means to an end. If you can find passion, like I said, that's really amazing. But work is supposed to fund the life you live. It's not supposed to be your life. You're not your job. You are more than what you do. The work, again, is supposed to fund the life you live, not be your entire life. And I enjoy the work that I do. I enjoy being a therapist. I enjoy being a mentor. I enjoy creating YouTube videos. And I'm very lucky that I get to enjoy my life as my work life, but it's not the only part of my life. Because if tomorrow I could no longer work, I can derive meaning from other things. Because if I were to become ill and I couldn't work with clients anymore and I couldn't film videos anymore and work was the only part of my identity, that would topple me. That would just destroy me. And we see this often with people when they retire. They retire and they don't know what to do with themselves. There's only so much vacationing that you can do before you get bored or you run out of money. You can't vacation. We're working for the weekends, but we're not enjoying them. We're working for retirement, and yet we're not always enjoying it. You need to create meaning outside of the work, and you need to do it now. You need to do it while you still can, while this is still a possibility, while you're well enough to do so. It is so important for your well-being and for your resilience. And if you're not sure how to do this, I want you to think about what your values are. What do you value a lot? What do you name as your values? For me, it's family, it's health, it's friends. And so are you living in accordance with those values? If I were to look at your schedule, would the schedule and your behaviors reflect the values that you say you have? And if they don't, you need to go back to the drawing board. Your schedule should reflect your values. Because I'm sure that right now I could look at many of your schedules out there and it would just be work and it would just be numbing. And yet you tell me your value is family. You tell me you value self-care. And yet it's not being shown. And if you're unsure where to start, you're like, Emily, I don't want to live for the weekends anymore and not enjoy them. I want to enjoy my weekends, and I also want to enjoy my weekdays. I would recommend you go back and think about your childhood, your young adolescence. What are the things that you enjoyed doing? What are the things that you found yourself doing alone or with friends? Maybe you were really into building stuff. Like maybe you're really into Lego. I don't know. For me, for instance, if I think back to my childhood, I was really into making things, making up stories, making up games, and just like making jewelry, and also cutting up a lot of shirts and sewing them together. Also, I never finished those projects, and sorry, Mom, about all the cut up shirts. But I loved creation. And then in my adolescence, a lot of it was spent just kind of being with friends. Like my friend Emily, who's a beautiful name, same name as me. We used to just hang out at my house, and then when she had a car, we just drove around and talked. Like that was what we did. And if I look at how I spend my time now with my friends, it's super similar to that. So when I'm with my friends, so especially Emily, who we've reconnected recently, and my friend Marion, we don't plan on what we're going to do. Like, it's not just about like, let's go to a restaurant, let's go to shop. Like, we're human beings, not human doings. You know what I mean? Like, we can just be with each other. If you want to go out to do things, that's fine too, but know that you don't have to. You can just be with people. And for me, like that's it. Like my friends come over and we just talk and laugh and maybe we play a board game, but it's not like we're planning everything, you know. It's just we let it unfold naturally. And then in my alone time, I'm creating things, I'm planning things. I like to do Canva art, you know, like that kind of stuff. So I connected with what I used to do as a child when things were much simpler and work was not even in my mind. And I just took that and placed it into the life I have now in an adult version. So think to your past childhood. What did you enjoy and how could you infuse that in your free time? And please stop calling it like work time and non-work time. How about it's like free time and non-free time? Like work has way too much power. We need to like calm down, work. Calm down. I also want to mention a quote that I heard recently that I really like it. And it's by Esther Perel. And she says, don't bring the best of yourself to your company and your clients while you bring the leftovers home. Oh my God, I love it. I'm going to read it again. Don't bring the best of yourself to your company and your clients while you bring the leftovers home. You have a life that can be so rich and so fulfilling. It does not end with crossing things off of your to-do list. That's only the start. So, what are you bringing home? What is your life outside of work? We are no longer living for the weekends, and we're enjoying every single day that we are alive. I have so much more that I could say on this topic, and I might make more videos about this. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments. What did you think about today's topic? Do you feel like you're living for the weekends and not enjoying them? I'd love to know. Leave me a comment. And if you're curious on how to find what your core values are so that they can be your guiding light in making decisions, I recommend watching this video right here where I talk about discovering your core values and the importance of that. So keep living your authentic life. Bye.